When there's nothing left to burn, you listen to Toronto Mike.
What up, Mike? Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto Mike, we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love.
Welcome to episode 1765 of Toronto Mic'd, proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Toronto's Waterfront BIA. Check out what's happening on Toronto's waterfront this summer. Blue Sky Agency, the official distributor of Silent's quiet, comfortable, and customizable office pods. Create sanctuary within your workspace. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. And Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. Today, I'm going to call up FOTM Ben Rayner and find out how he's dealing with life's curveballs. This is going to be a literal phone call because due to Ben's living arrangements right now, he can't Zoom or do this any other way. So I'm going to call him right now.
Probably never listen to, or you could try texting me. Either way, I will eventually get back to you. Bye.
All right, that went terribly. So what I'm going to do is let him know that the number that appears to be from Georgia is me. So I'm going to give him the heads up because some people ignore calls if they don't recognize the number. And I'm not calling from my normal 416 number. I am calling from my Google Voice number, which is a Georgian number. Long story there. But okay, let's try again. This is kind of exciting. Will Ben Rayner answer?
Never listen to, or you could try texting me.
Ben, you got to answer your phone, buddy.
Get back to you. Bye.
My goodness. Okay. Ben, it's Toronto Mike calling. I'm going to call again, but if you see a number, a 647... No, you're 647. If you see a Georgia number, please answer. I'm going to call again. But you don't check voicemail, so this is all the waste of my time. Okay, we're going to give this another go because I am going to connect with Ben Rayner if it kills me here. So, Ben, I hear you calling. All right, third time's a charm. I don't know where that expression came from, but I'm going to apply it here. Third time's a charm. Here we go. Okay. Ben Rayner. I don't know where he is. I don't know what's going on, but he knows I'm calling now. Ben, can you hear me?
Does this not work?
Yeah, can you hear me? Ben Rayner?
Yeah, now I can. Hello.
Hey, thank you
going, brother?
Thank you for answering.
Nice to hear your voice.
Oh, it's good to hear your voice. I'm glad you took the call. That was my third time calling you.
No, you know what? It's not showing up. I'm in a weird spot. Like I thought it would be. I was like, I'll have a dip. I'll go to the Northwest Arms. So I hiked out to Sanford Fleming Wilderness Park and by the Dingle. It's known here as the Dingle. It's a bell tower. Hence the name, the Dingle. And immediately, the sky went 6 shades darker, and the breeze got up. But I think the sun's coming out again, so I think we're okay. I think we're all right.
Okay, I'm really glad we connected. I want to find out how you're doing. So I wrote you, I don't know, a couple of months ago, I wrote you and said, Ben, walk over, we can kick out some jams. And you're like, it's a long walk. You're like, I'm not in Toronto. So where are you exactly right now?
I am on the northwest arm of Halifax Harbor in Sanford Fleming Wilderness Park, gazing across at the majestic rooftops of King's College and Dalhousie University. So I'm basically in Halifax at the moment. I should be here for a little bit. I've been kind of moving around because I left Toronto and I did a bit of an Irish exit, and I didn't say goodbye to a lot of my friends, as you know, just because I was having a really shitty time. Like, my shitty times kept getting shittier, and it was time to go, and I felt the city was slowly sapping. Oh, here comes the sun. Yay. And the wind should go down. And my daughter, whether I liked it or not, my ex was going to move my daughter to Dartmouth. And I didn't have the energy for a custody battle after a year fighting my eviction and stuff. So I just was like, and I left my job managing a record shop under a cloud on the first day of spring, and then 45 minutes later, the judgment came down from the landlord tenant board, and I was just like, "Guy, you know what? Fuck this. I'm out." I can't live here anymore.
Okay, there's
In a nutshell.
a lot to unpack there, but just because I want to have a beefy convo, so I'm just worried about the fidelity of your voice here. So
Yeah, I can move inland a bit.
Well,
no, I did it.
Yeah.
I did it with Metro Morning on this cell phone via WhatsApp, and that seemed to be a better connection. I don't know if you want to try that.
Okay, so hold on. Let me. Okay,
I got
WhatsApp.
someone calling. That's not you now. Someone calling on the other line.
That's not me. That's not me. Hold on.
No.
Give me a second here. Because
I can. It's the wind that you're getting right now.
No, I think it's more like you might be a titch close. Maybe you're a little overmodulated. Like you're a titch close to the mic.
I'm trying to shield from the wind, but maybe how's this?
Oh, yeah.
Is that a little better?
Yes. Okay. Let's proceed like
I'm
this.
making a cup with my hands. You can fix it in post-production.
Oh, I refuse. Okay.
I don't know why. It was like a perfectly still, boiling hot day. I put my trunks in my bag, and I was like, I'm going for a swim, and I sweat buckets. It's the hour-long walk out here, and the moment I get here, it's fucking cyclone territory.
You know what?
But I can't move the land a bit. But if the wind is not the problem, we should be okay.
Okay, let's proceed. You know, we can always move it to WhatsApp if we need to.
Yeah.
But okay, so let me just.
Why don't I go? Just let me try this other bench.
Okay.
See if this improves anything.
All right.
Like, I'm sort of on the seawall right now. I can go inland.
No, so are you on a headset or are you talking into the phone?
I'm talking into the phone.
Okay, it might just be your.
I could try the headset if you want. Oh shit! It's not Bluetooth to this one. Then.
Okay, don't worry about that. I just think maybe you were too close to the microphone. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm just trying to spare you this.
Oh yeah.
I can't force wind you there, but if I turn the phone this way, how's that?
Okay, let's check it out. So, do you mind if I do a little recap here and just make sure I understand all of this?
I can also run uphill to a place a little more sheltered.
See, I don't mind the wind. I'd rather the wind than the overmodulation.
You'll get buoys clanging.
Oh, I don't mind that.
I'm on the ocean, Mike.
I love it, man. I'm kind of jealous. I want to come join you, but let me just understand this, okay?
When I have a place to live here, you have a pied-à-terre.
Where did you sleep last night? Like, are you sleeping under a bridge? What's going on?
No, I was dog sitting for my friend Dennis and his wife. I don't know how 5-6 weeks ago. And poor bastard's mom died.
Oh.
While he was away, so I'm actually now looking after her cats and her garden at her old place until the new tenants move in, which is his sister and his niece. So yeah, it just way it worked out in a weird way because she took great pride in the garden and loved those cats, and they're all busy, they're all working. So I've been just living there for the last couple of weeks, which is really sweet. My friend Dennis has been my friends have been really good to me, man. Like I've been living on couch. I went back to New Brunswick for a week there a couple weeks ago because I didn't want to spend my birthday on a couch. But yeah, whatever.
So you've been basically couch surfing, like friends and family have been, taking you for, weeks at a time or so.
Yeah. Like since I had to be out of my place April 30th. I did it in like a night because it was very painful. I abandoned all my stuff. I paid to ship because I don't have any money. I paid to ship and I got my ex's no help. So I left all my daughter's stuff and told her that was on her, which is kind of a cruel thing to do, but it was her fault. And I got my record collection, my DJ gear, like my 1200s and my CDJs and stuff. And my UFO, occult, and physics collection books. And my camping gear, because I thought that might come in handy.
Right.
And bike. And everything else I abandoned. My whole apartment. All my clippings. Like most of my stuff.
Okay,
like,
so
I had pretty much everything I own.
So this happened in April 2025, this exodus from Toronto.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you this. So Ben, last time, we chatted, which it felt like not that long ago, but it was before April. We knew you were working at a record store on the Danforth, I think.
Yeah, I was managing the Cops Records location on the Danforth. And part and parcel of the situation was I kept having to take time on for stress and depression, right? I was being evicted. My ex was threatening to take my daughter to the East Coast. You know what? I don't want to tell tales out of school because I loved running that shop, but the job ceased to be pleasurable to me because the owner is very old school and English, and my hours were cut. So I would have been homeless anyway because I couldn't make ends meet, and freelance has been really tight. And also, I was having a hard time, even finding the time to drum up work. Like I was basically living for my weekends with the kid, like Saturday to Tuesday, and the rest of the time I was alone, trying to drum up some writing work to make ends. I was making a good salary until, like I said, rather insensitively, my hours were cut because my personal problem. It's a long story, and I'll keep it private. But the job wasn't what it used to be. I wasn't working at the Danforth location anymore, and the job that I loved, probably my favorite job ever. Apart from I loved being a music writer. I still am a music writer. I was writing about music today, but I loved running a record shop, and the conflict there got really ugly, and I'm not one to eat shit on a daily basis. I'll put it that way. And you can't treat me like a 18-year-old kid.
No, you know what? Who wants to eat shit? Who wants to eat shit?
Yeah. So it got really bad. I got really depressed, and it was not a good situation for me anymore. And it kind of felt like when I left the Star, where all the joy had been bled from the job. And I could feel myself. I've told you about all that in the past. I have depression issues, and I could feel that coming on, and alone all the time. And I can sink very easily into drinking alone and doing drugs, and I just didn't want to go down that road anymore. So it was kind of like a nice kick in the ass. It was legit. The first day of spring, I walked out of the shop. I was like, I'm not coming back. And then 45 minutes, I got the email from the LTV, the landlord tenant board, saying I had to be out of my apartment. And I thought they were supposed to give you 2 months, but I had 5 weeks or something. So I spent a couple of weeks in bed, as one does. And then just shit, what am I going to do? I called my mom in tears. I was like, can we put my stuff in storage? Can I come stay with you for a minute? And I knew my exes wanted to move because honestly, nobody wants to be left for their, relationship of 22 years for someone's high school boyfriend. I wasn't enjoying that situation either. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm done with Toronto. I fought this for a year, and when it came to the actual eviction hearing, but then again, I'd been there in that apartment almost 24 years by the time I left. But my ex-partner was the leaseholder, so what my landlord immediately tried to do was raise the rent $650 a month, which is, he's German, so I'll accidentally do the accent all the time, even though I try not to. But he's just like, well, you could agree it's well below market rate. I'm like, I've been here for 23 years. My rent is doubled. I'm a single father, and you want like $700-800 more out of me. And I was like, I had to fight that. And we had the conversation. I was like, I don't think you could do that. I think the provincial maximum is 2.5%. And I got this spiel about how, you know, I had to bear in mind this guy had sat in my living room because he lives in Berlin. Hasn't worked in 10 years. Makes probably 12, 13 grand a month off that house, at least. I think I was saying almost 1,800 for a 2-bedroom in Toronto. That's great. You know, I'm sure he's getting 35 or 37 for it now. And that was his gamble. And more power to him. He's a piece of shit. But he sat in my living room over the holidays after my partner and I had finally, like she finally moved out after 6 months. I think I've talked to you since then, just pretending that we were still together to my daughter. And it was like, well, I don't care about market rate. It's so tragic. I'm glad you have a roof over your head. And the moment my ex asked to leave the lease, oh, okay, I'm going to raise $650 a month. I just was like, yeah. So I had to fight it. I'm too punk. You've known me for a while now. That's what I do. And I lost. I mean, I had like an expensive, like, Bay Street Nazi lawyer. I had like a really well-meaning kid from Parkdale Community Legal Services because I'm poor. And I lost. But it felt good because I sat in that hearing, and it's all via Zoom. And seeing the guy for the first time and all that, you know, like a year and a half, I was just like, I don't want to give you my money ever again anyway. Yeah, and I was just like, well, how can I ever stay in this place? So, I don't know, it's just the kick in the ass I needed. So I left Toronto. I miss you guys. I miss my friends.
Well, so when I wrote you that note...
I don't have a Great Lakes, bro, but I do have a Propeller Pilsner, and I feel like I should crack a beer.
Well, you know what? You cracked yours. Did you just crack it?
I just cracked it.
Okay, so you know, you're on phone, so you don't see me, but I have a sunny side. It's one of the last cans left.
I love the sunny side. I miss the Great Lakes.
Well,
if I could get them out here, I would.
When I first started doing like sponsorship stuff with Great Lakes, they had a couple of Halifax locations that would sell Great Lakes. I don't know if they still do, but we used to say like 99.9% of all Great Lakes stays in Ontario because there was like 0.01% heading to Halifax.
Well, I got to do some research then.
Well, I'm going to talk to Troy. Okay, on the mic, Ben. Here it goes.
Like, I mean, you know, it was never an exaggeration. All the times you and I have enjoyed a Great Lakes tall can together. It's like they're like my go-to in Toronto.
Well, I'm enjoying one with you right now. Sadly, you're far away, but eventually, you know, you'll be back here at some point. But I do want to explore a bit of this because I think your story is not unique in the sense that I think a lot of guys our age get this. I call it like you can survive one, but not both. Let me just blab a bit and then I want to hear from you. But like you had a long time gig at the Toronto Star and they got rid of all their entertainment guys basically. So you got let go from your long time gig writing about music for the Toronto Star. So like
22 years, David.
How many years?
22 years.
20. So 20.
Which is actually the same time I was in my relationship. So numerologically, I got a curse on me.
Okay.
Number 22.
But that's interesting to me because you have a 22-year career that it ends. So now, I don't know, you got some severance or something, I hope, but you know, it's not going to last you the rest of your life. So you 22-year career comes to an end, but around the same time, your 22-year relationship comes to an end. So you're going to be separated and then probably divorced. I know what that's like. So you lose your relationship and your job around the same time. I feel like there's a lot of guys our age, Ben, I'd like you to speak to this, but a lot of guys can handle one of those things. But the two at the same time, especially in a city like Toronto, it's just a bridge too far, right?
Yeah, when it was also like just apart from the emotional distress, like I said, nobody wants to be left for their partner's high school boyfriend, which is what ultimately happened. Like overnight kind of thing. Like, and it was a shock. And then like not seeing your daughter, your kids, you have kids, right? Like it's not seeing a kid every day. It's really tough.
Sucks.
And I took a serious cut in income when I left the Star. They were very generous. I had like a buyout for a year and a half during COVID too. So I was like a full-time dad. It was great. And I'd been through a hell of a lot of like, you know, I've told you, like I was killing myself and all that. I can joke about it now because it didn't, but it was true. And that was really healing. But then, like, barely scraping by. And actually, to be fair, like, the cops, they paid me a living wage. I was doing all right and freelance. But then to have, like, your rent double overnight. And you know, we tried to be gentlemanly about it and not involve lawyers. And I got the shit end of that stick. So my rent has doubled. My income is stagnant. I basically cut about 50% after leaving the Star, which was a union job for 22 years. And then having a landlord try to jack my rent by $8,000 a year on top of it. It was like untenable. Like I could, like the emotionally, financially, it was just, what am I doing? Like, I never saw my friends, never went out because I couldn't have, I was like, I want to go see the new Dune movie. I probably can't have lunch on Tuesday. Like, it was that bad. Just because like it's a real adjustment. I grew up like with a single mother of two kids, like below the poverty line. And I know what it's like. I've been a writer for years. I've never been making bank. I think I did okay considering what I chose to do with my life, which is write about music. But that job doesn't really exist anymore. So yeah, it was like a loss of identity, a loss of, the love of my life, I guess, overnight, loss of my kid for half the week. And then being threatened with the loss of the place that I'd lived for, I was nearly 24 years when I finally bailed, man. It's a lot. Like, and I've had it out with my dad a couple of times back in New Brunswick, because he's like, well, you got to pull, why aren't you looking for work right away? And I'm like, I need like a month or two just to decompress from this app. Like, it's been a hellish couple of years, and I stopped. For a while, I'd be like, well, it can't get any worse. And then it would get worse, and then on that day when I was like, within 45 minutes, I became unemployed and homeless. And I was like, well, maybe that's rock bottom, but I don't dare say it anymore. You know what I mean? I feel like I've cursed myself. But it's tough, yeah. Like, it's at our age too. And that's the thing, like being a single dad with no money. It's not like I was, like, I'm a good looking dude, and I'm pretty charming. It would be nice to meet girls, and it wasn't. Like, all my free time was spent with my 8-year-old daughter, and the rest of the time was spent 8 hours a day running a shop and like hanging out with a bunch of really cool kids, and then working at night to make ends meet. And I would have had this rule that I wouldn't work, when I had my kid, because it's still that way. Like, when I've had Polly the last 2 afternoons, like I don't do anything else. It's all about Polly, and I'll have her tomorrow and Sunday, and she'll be the focus. But yeah, it's tough too, man. Like, being and I get it, and I don't mean this in any kind of like MAGA white man's burden bullshit way. It's like being a middle-aged straight. I mean, I'm all pretty gay, but I am at the end of the day a straight middle-aged white male. Looking for work is tough. I'm very well acquainted with like the phrase "priority will be given to applicants from non-traditional background." And I, like I said, I get it. I get it. It's my culture has to atone for its past sins. But it can be dispiriting at times, being our age and like being like a single unemployed dude.
Well,
it's oddly liberating not having a fixed address, but it's getting tiresome, and I'm bored not working. I picked up some freelance today, which is great, and I have some people interested in, weirdly enough, a couple of like filmy things that I've had in the back of my head. And in fact, what is it, 2:00? I don't want to, I'm not going to jinx it, but a subject dear to my heart is UFOs. Something along those lines is at least being floated in front of potential backers as we speak. So, that's a long game. But I don't know, man. It's been a very awkward transition, but I mean, I came out here to be with my daughter, and I'm seeing her as much as I can while I'm here. I have really good friends who are willing to put me up, because like no one's going to rent to like a loser on EI. And this is like, Halifax is as expensive or more as expensive than Toronto. Like, this town, I haven't been here. Halifax Pop Explosion had flown me out just before COVID hit to do some stuff with Trail of Dead, and you will know us by the Trail of Dead, the band, not the cult. And so it had been like 5 years since I'd been here. This is like there's like 500,000 or 600,000 people now in the Halifax Regional Municipality. It's a city. It's growing like a weed, but there's not enough space for everybody. The homeless population here has doubled, I think, since COVID, because a lot of people from Ontario came back and drove the rent and everything up. So and they got all the same problems Toronto has. Like people are being ousted, rent evicted, getting their rents jacked. There's not enough transit. No, you and I can understand. There's no bike lanes things. There's no bike lanes here.
Wow.
So it's an interesting time to be here, and it's a great city. I wanted to live here for years. So in a weird way, I've gotten my own way, but I don't actually live here yet. Know what I'm saying, brother?
No, listen, so I'm taking all this in, and I feel like now's a good time to just remind you of how many people basically love you, man. Like, I just want to make sure you've got a lot of friends, a lot of admirers. I know even just here you come out to the events and people love Ben Rayner. So when I put out, like, who's got a question for Ben, Gilles LeBlanc right away just said, "We love you, Ben Rayner." Like, I just want to make sure there's people out there who give a shit about you.
Well, don't you make me cry. It's honestly, when I wrote about, because I wanted to write about all that stuff for a little bit. Well, I like skirting the edges of legality with some of it. It was pretty nuts how many people reached out to, and I guess I don't look at that shit when it goes in print because I hate edits. I'll tell you a good story about that after this. I never look at my stuff once it's edited because I know it's perfect when I hand it in. I don't like people fucking with my copy. Why? Probably another reason it's hard to find work, because I do have a reputation for being unstable and being quite difficult to work with, but also really nice. But that piece came out, and I was like, nobody reads the Star, but Metro Morning called the next day, and I guess the Star had to put up a whole other page, and it was number one on their opinion page for a couple of days, and I was just like, oh, it's nice, because I hadn't written anything since Kylie Minogue was in town in March, because I love Kylie, as you know. And I'd had a bit of a bad. I'll tell you this story very quick, because I love the Star, and they're still very good to me. And actually, they just agreed to take some stuff from me today, even. But I wrote this review, and it was a pretty cheesy lead, but it soured. I was going through the evictions, the hearing and everything, right around the same time. Well, I took Polly, my daughter, the light of my life, to our first big show. It was Kylie Minogue, and it was a big gig. This is going to be a big gay dance party. And she's like, "Oh my God, you're right. There's no women here." I was like, "There's a few, but it's a big gay dance party. Safest place for an 8-year-old to be, really." So my lead in my piece, which I filed the next morning, Sunday morning, was and again, it's not my best work, but it hits the mood. It was there's a big gay dance party, and then there's a Kylie-sized big gay dance party. In fact, the biggest big gay dance party to hit Toronto since Pride 2024 was at the Scotiabank Arena. But, that kind of thing. Nothing goes up on Sunday. I'm like, that's weird. I had an 11 a.m. deadline. Or what. It goes up on Monday. And the word gay, everywhere I'd put the word gay, the word gay had been excised. I mean, even double spaces some places where they had just hastily taken out the word gay. So it read, it was an absolute hatchet job. It was there's a big dance party, and then there's a Kylie-sized big dance party. Oh. In fact, the biggest big dance party to hit Toronto. So all the innuendo out of the closet, boys, boys, boy, all that was left in. But every single time I used the word gay, the word gay was gone. Even my daughter was like, "Why did they take the word gay out?"
Why did they take the word? Why did they take the word gay out? I don't understand why that.
Yeah. But I did not. I kind of let it wasn't their fault. It was probably a weekend editor, but the people I work with usually, I kind of gave them a blast. I was like, "You fucking butchered my," and I didn't pitch anything for a while because it was a bit sour grapes. But I took a deep breath. And I ended that piece, and it was very cathartic, and it was nice to see that people still like and read stuff when I write, because I don't write very often anymore, mainly because you don't get paid for it, and it's really frustrating, because so many magazine pieces were just charity work. I just don't want to do it anymore. But I would like to see drove a little traffic to my old employer's website, even though it was behind the paywall. I was like, maybe I made you $3 or $4.
But Ben, when your recent piece where you opened up about all of this in the Toronto Star that you're talking about, did you, and I see on the live stream, because we have a live stream at live.torontomike.com, but of course nobody can see you because you're on the phone, so there's no video of you. But VP...
I couldn't be. I'll send you a picture after.
But the first thing I noticed...
I will say, because I spend my mornings doing the job hunt, and I've been like, you know me, if I don't have to be inside, I'm outside.
Oh, yeah. You're walking the earth, kung fu style, absolutely. But just when this piece did run in the Toronto Star, the print, one of the parts, the photo caption, got your daughter's name wrong.
Yes. Nobody was more outraged than my mother, I can assure you.
But is that where we're at in 2025? Like, of all the things not to catch, to me, it's like, I wouldn't accept that kind of mistake on torontomike.com, the blog.
No, I sent a very polite, because I didn't realize it had run that fast. So my dear friend Carson sent me a picture of the full page and the copy thing. And I very politely said, the editor I've been dealing with, this is a nice guy. Probably a kid being paid like a quarter of what I used to get. You know what I mean? I'm totally overburdened. And I just said, my daughter's name is Paul. However I put it. Do you mind changing that? My mom is off. But I understand, because you're probably, he's probably editing the whole paper. He's the only guy there taking copy on the weekend. And that's what happens when you have no staff and no money. And
Right.
It's funny. I had lunch with a buddy of mine who's high up at the National Post here in Allen. Just moved back to Halifax a few weeks ago, and the number that they employ for that entire I know I'm not gonna get the number wrong, but it was astonishingly low to put out a whole national paper. So I can't imagine how lean an operation the Star is these days. And how tough it must be to work there. It was driving me to drink and stuff when I was there. It's tough business, man. I just hope that brand hangs on. You know what I mean? It's a proud property. Ernest Hemingway. I worked there, for God's sake. It'd be a shame to see all the newspapers doing. And I think the Post and the Globe have the business thing, right? They have the Financial Post, Globe at the RB, the Board on Business. So in a way, they're almost subsidized, because all the Bay Street firms can write it off, right? Write off their subscriptions, but the Star doesn't actually have that presence. So it's got to be tough for them.
No, one of my fears is I'll wake up one day and find out that they're shuttering the Toronto Star. So many of our, people covering city council, for example, here in Toronto, they're mostly Toronto Star guys. I have Ed Keenan. He's going to be on the show in 2 weeks. David Ryder, I'm going to meet him for a beer at the Diplomatico Cafe in a week.
Dave and I are Ottawa Sun refugees. Right. We both led the Ottawa Sun for the Toronto Star.
Well, he's listening right now, so hello to FOTM David Ryder.
Hello to Dave Ryder.
lots of love. Hey, so much still. I'm processing this in real time, but I want to just say the one silver lining here is that you get to see Paulie. I feel like I worry about you if, I don't know, let's say instead of Dartmouth, your ex-wife said we're going to Berlin.
I probably would have gone to Berlin. I went up until, what was it, maybe 2.5, 3 weeks ago. I didn't see Paulie for five weeks. It was the longest I'd ever gone without seeing her. And it ruined me. that's why I'm here. That's why I throw my life away now twice for her. Right? That's half the reason I finally left the Star during COVID and took the buyout, was because her mom is training crisis counselor and works for a fairly prominent nonprofit. And it's I can't be trying to write about COVID, which is inevitably what it would be, not music, in the living room in a 2-bedroom flat while mom trains crisis counselors in the kitchen, and a 3-year-old runs her. He probably was 3 then. Well, that's, that was a large part of my decision to leave the Star, was just to be a full-time dad while my daughter was little. And that was great. I've told you about that. We just went anywhere. Where do you want to go? Black Creek? Fine. Because I'm a hiker. It's like, I don't care. We'll walk 35 kilometers in a day. It doesn't matter. I'm pushing the stroller. So this was, it was an easy decision to just follow my daughter. And again, I just went through a year of in and out of these lawyery shit with the eviction, and I emotionally, physically, and financially, I really couldn't handle an eviction or a custody battle, rather. When I find out after spending 8 months in court and $16,000, okay, you can see your daughter for 2 months in the summer, and I just couldn't do it. It's inconceivable to me, and it's actually I'm starting to get panicky right now because I got to figure out what I'm doing next weekend. We'll probably do another daddy-daughter motel night or two, and then I might go back to New Brunswick for a bit. I mean, if I have the money, I'd like to come back to Toronto for Queens of the Stone Age and Massey Hall. Flair is great. Flair Airlines, I'll shout out to them because it's you can buy a ticket the day before for $90. You just can't bring anything with you. So I came back to Toronto and did 3 raves in 8 days a few weeks ago, which took years off my life, but shows I still got it. But I thought I'd be sad coming back, and I miss my friends. I miss my friends, and I miss Kensington Market, and I miss going to Toronto Island, swimming at Snake Island and Gibraltar Point, and all that stuff. But it would be empty to me without my kid there. And now I get to introduce Polly to a guy I know in Halifax pretty well. And they're on the willy wags, as my dad would say, in Dartmouth. So in fact, the first day I picked her up and grabbed the ferry across the harbor. And so I still have a ferry in my life. I don't have that Toronto Island FOMO because I still take the Dartmouth ferry almost every day to see my kid. She's like, do I get to take the ferry every time I see you? And I'm like, yes. Yes, you do. And now I was like, well, I guess I'm not living in Moncton and coming to see you every 3 weeks, So I have to be here. And I have to be on the Hallie side so she gets that balance and still gets a bit of city in her life.
Ben,
you understand.
Yeah, I actually had a deal with my ex-wife where we agreed that neither of us would move more than a 15-minute drive away from the other. This was the deal we struck. And I honored it. In every place I rented or bought, I made sure that it was 15 minutes away from where she was at. And then eventually what happens is, and this will happen for you too, Ben, is all of a sudden they're not 8 years old anymore. They're full-fledged adults who will go where they want. At some point that will happen. But it's a bitch getting there, but it all worked out. But I just feel for all divorced dads and moms who don't get to tuck their, because I have 2 kids I tuck into bed. I could cry right now actually, but I have 2 kids I get to tuck into bed every night. And then I think, oh, I used to do this for my first 2 kids, and then suddenly there was a day where I wasn't able to do it every night. And it may have served the greater good, but it breaks your heart even thinking about it.
Yeah, that's the hardest part about it. And like I said, I there was no way I was going to spend thousands of dollars to get some judge to tell me, all right, well, you can have it in the summer. Why do that? Why do that? I'll be I'll just be the bigger person and all that. I not to disparage. It was not like I have had an amicable split, but at least we both understand that my daughter needs both of her parents in her life.
Right.
And I'm just trying to figure out a way to do that. It's been hard. It'll work out.
It'll work out. But what I hear is, Ben, I think we need to get you stable housing in Halifax. Am I right?
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Being at my mom's place or staying at my friend Josh's or Carson's in Toronto and going on Indeed. That's not the way. And that's not the way I've ever found work. I hadn't even done it. I hadn't even done a resume since I was a summer student at the Ottawa Sun. Even with the Star thing, I kind of got, I won't say I was headhunted, but it was kind of would you like to work here? And there are other people in the running, but it wasn't And then even I think the managing the shop, which is I kind of talked my way into that. I was like, how do I do a resume? I don't even know. So that's, I don't know. It's like I'm the kind of guy. I've been having lots of meetings with people, and that's ultimately that'll be what bears fruit. Freelance is tough as a writer these days. I don't know how anyone does it for a living, unless you figured it out a long time ago and you've got like regular gigs.
No, it's tough. I just had a chat with Karen Bliss. We were at this breakfast event and we were talking about it, and it sounds really, really tough to make a living where you could, especially to live in Toronto, but it sounds like Halifax isn't all that cheaper now, but it's very difficult to cobble enough money in to have to make an adult wage.
No, I had that same conversation with Karen one of the last times I saw her. She's just like, I'm hurting. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Well, I'll tell you, like, I don't know what I made from freelance last year, but it was probably, and I didn't do it aggressively. I'm mostly with the Star because they actually pay on time when they don't mess with my shit. And like, unless the word gay is in there. But like, so I probably did, I don't know, 8,000 or 9,000 on the side, just like from freelance. I think this year, like, I've made $725 from freelance.
Eek!
I think I made, like, that's how much it's down. Like,
that's the grocery bill.
And that's the reality of the business. I and I'm not. Again, I've had a bit of a tumultuous few months, so it's not like I was pitching everybody all day.
Of course.
But
I think
I'll figure it out.
I'm glad you're opening up.
I mean, PetSmart was looking for a store manager. I'm good with pets. That's what I've been doing. I've been taking care of pets for like. So the week I stayed, I went to stay with my mother. Her poor dog. I don't know why I'm laughing. Her poor dog was like blind in one eye and shitting all over the place and backing into corners. And I was like, and howling. I was like, Mom, you got to take the dog to the vet. She's like, I'm afraid of what they're going to say. And like, I basically killed my mother. The poor dog was put to sleep immediately.
Oh my God.
Because she had a blockage in her lap. So I've been taking my fostered a dog. So I've been like dog sitting for friends here, dog sitting for my mother. Now I'm cat sitting. And I realized maybe that's my true calling.
Well, Ben, obviously you like to walk, right? So you love being outside. You love walking. And it sounds like you'll be fine with the fact that winter is coming. Okay, you are a maritimer. You know the drill. But if you like to walk and you love animals, I think the obvious is to start Ben Rayner's dog walking service.
The thought has occurred to me. There was a guy walking. I'll send you the picture, actually. There was a guy walking 10 dogs at once in Halifax Common a couple of weeks ago. I walked up to him. I was just like, this is an Australian guy. Quite a handsome chap, too. And I was like, Jesus, you have the best job in the fucking world. He's like, I know.
But I'm serious.
He's like, I've toned it down today because I guess it was super hot, like, 32 degrees or something. I was like, I would love to wake up and walk 10 dogs at once.
But you can.
I was walking 2 to 3 at once,
But you could do this, right? Like when you're in the right, headspace, you could launch this business and, you could hustle up 10 good clients or something, and then you could afford to, live in Halifax and see Polly as much as you can.
Yeah, once I firm up some biker hookups too, I can sell drugs. Endless opportunities.
So there's hope for Ben Rayner. Do you see the light at the end of the tunnel here?
Yeah, man. Like it's not a fucking pity party, right? Like and I got into it with my father again yesterday. It's like, you've got to just take whatever, get some money coming in. I'm like, you know what? I know it. He's like, it doesn't matter what it is. I was like, it does, actually. It does matter what it is. And I have the luxury of living in a country that gives me a bit of time to suss it out. And it's a good exercise too, like to go and have, lunch with people from CBC or whatever, and like talking, and just introduce you, because it's the Maritimes, man. You don't say you're from, like, I thank God I grew up in Newfoundland, New Brunswick. A very dear friend of mine just had a movie premiere here at the Atlantic. Oh my God. Everybody should watch What We Dreamed of Then. It's about a sad divorced dad who winds up living in his van. It's amazing. I cried through the whole thing, but I'm really proud of some friends of mine who made it. And it's set in St. John too, like bleak St. It's like the real St. John, New Brunswick. It's a fantastic film. But Sandy moved back here 4 or 5 years ago, and it's the same thing. It's like, just don't tell me. Always say you're from New Brunswick. Always say you're from Newfoundland. You don't say, well, in Toronto, it's like, it's so, you got to ease back in. Because I think a lot of people are a little bit hostile, especially like in Charlotte Canyon, New Brunswick, where my folks live. There's a lot of people in Ontario who have moved back. And they're the people who piss me off, because I've been trespassing on a lot of properties since I was 6, 7 years old when I moved there. And they're the ones who come out and are like, this is private property. And it's like, I've been coming here a long time, you motherfucker. I know you're here for 3 weeks in the summer, 3 weekends in the summer. Don't tell me to get off your beat. By the way, you can't own the title. So that's been my other pastime, has been trespassing, outraging the wealthy, the privileged.
Well, it's very punk of you. Do they think perhaps Pearl Jam is coming to Halifax when they see you wandering about?
All right, you'll enjoy this, because I told Polly, my friend Mike, would enjoy this. We were on the waterfront here in Halifax last weekend, and a guy got called. There was a street musician, and he called me up. He's like, "Very little look-alike in the front." And I said to Polly, "Oh, my friend Mike will enjoy this."
Maybe you start like
a couple of people cheered because they agreed. I still don't see it, but I've said to you many times, if I'm mistaken for a sensitive surfer poet with a lovely baritone, fine by me. If it gets me chicks, now I'm a single guy. If it gets me laid, I'm fine with it.
Hey, is it tough to date? I don't know if you're even doing it actively now or if you're just about to, but is it tough to date when you're poor?
Yes. Short answer. Well, I don't, because I've been staying off and on in a small town with my mom in a modular home. But also it's a small town, and then I've been everyone is going to know whatever happens, in St. George. Everyone's going to know. So you got to pick your battles. Although, I've thought about looking at some of my high school girlfriends. Seems like that's all the rage. Whoop! Did I do that? But also living on people's couches. A little awkward if you were to bring someone home.
Yeah.
But right now it's like, hey, come on over. I'm staying in my friend's dead mother's house. But you know what? I've gone on dates, and it's every time I've asked someone out, in the limited times I've asked someone out, they have agreed, and it's gone well. But then I fled Toronto, leaving a couple of, potential, what do you call a suitor, a suitee, as the feminine, behind.
Right.
But I just, all my free time tends to be spent with a sassy 8-year-old. Be nice to meet girls.
Well, it's literally the only, if you're looking at what are the, the benefits of this divorce I didn't see coming, right? The only big benefit is, I get to date other women. Right?
I will say, apparently my mom was at the hair salon in St. George, New Brunswick, where I grew up. And apparently I'm all the talk because I'm fresh meat. Like I said, I'm not modest. I'm a good-looking guy.
You're a good-looking guy. You're fit. You don't have that. No offense to the listeners who have one, but you haven't grown that boiler in the front. You know how guys our age are building that boiler?
No, I will say too, being in rural areas, I'm running into a lot of people I grew up with again for the first time in a while. I'm like, one's a little chunky, because you can walk the town where I grew up. You can walk anywhere in that town in 15 or 20 minutes, and no one walks anywhere. Right? So I've gotten to know the 3 homeless guys who live in the woods around town, because they're the other people walking. And I'm like, hey, no, it's okay, Ryan, I'm homeless too. The guy was he's I've been eating dandelions. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'll bring you. So there's 3. I feel like there's a real invisible population in rural Canada, because people do know how to hunt and fish and stuff.
Right.
Because I run into the same guy. I'd be fishing and anything jump, but they're the only other people who walk there. So now I come to Halifax, and it's kind of like being in, when you go to Vancouver. Everyone swims, they go to the beach, they're fit. I must say, there's a lot of good-looking people here, girls and boys. So I feel optimistic for the future. But people but as soon as you get out of you don't. And that's the another reason I'd like to settle around here is because you don't need a car. Like I mean, you can get a Caminoto or whatever if you need one, a rideshare, or what do they call it? But you can get around. Transit's a little. It kind of reminds me of when I lived in Ottawa. Transit's not 100% reliable, but if you need it, and you're willing to wait, you can do it. But you can also walk places here, and if you really need a car, you can get one. But people walk, so they're fit. And I really noticed that coming back to rural Atlantic Canada. It's like, oh shit, you guys use your cars too much. We're lucky in cities. We walk. We'll live longer.
Well, some of us bike, but either or will do.
I mean, I'm a biker. My bike's in storage outside St. Andrews. My beautiful bike. I miss it. I miss her.
Well,
I call her my other daughter.
Why don't we get that bike out of storage, and that could be your transportation?
Well, I mean, right now I get around pretty good. I know all the shortcuts now. It's good. You know me. I'm a hiker.
No,
so.
You inspire me, man. Hey, can you do me a favor though? Before you have your first dandelion sandwich, can you send me a note and maybe I can ship out some palma pasta lasagna or something?
I know. The friend who I'm staying with loves to eat. Maybe we can reach an agreement.
Jeez.
My dear friend Dennis would enjoy palma pasta.
Well, geez, the next time you're in town, I'll hook you up. But in the meantime, I would ship it before the dandelions get consumed over here. So, okay, so we have you're couch surfing, sort of. Your mom's in New Brunswick, I guess, but your daughter's in Dartmouth. I know how close Dartmouth is to Halifax because I had to throw a loonie. When I visited, I had to throw a loonie in the toll to cross the bridge. Am I remembering correctly?
$3.
How much is it?
You can get you can load up on the app and get yourself a few free rides.
Wow. Okay, good tip. Okay, but they're close. So I feel like the next steps, again, I'm not micromanaging your life here, but we need to get you shelter that's more so you can crowd surf. You can crowd surf. Maybe we should crowdsource your shelter, but you can couch surf and do what you're doing. But at some point we get you a stable residence, even if it's just a 1-bedroom or something, a bedroom somewhere, but we get you that residence because it can get your consistency with Polly, because Polly is priority one, but then you could actually I know you're doing freelance, but it doesn't sound your dad's not wrong in the sense that maybe you do start this dog walking thing. There's a few bucks coming in every day. It's cash business maybe, who knows? You're starting to be able to get to eat at night. You get to take Polly to the movies. You get to have a life, and then you can date, and then you can fall in love, and then you can say, Mike, the best thing that ever happened to me was... losing my job at the record store, being evicted. Go ahead. Yeah.
I know. I honestly, man, I love this town. This was my brother was like, oh, so you're, she's one. And I'm yeah, this is the city I wanted to live in. Whenever we talked about moving back to the East Coast, and she did not want to because she's from Newfoundland. And I was like, I don't want to move back to New Brunswick. I like New Brunswick, but I'm not going to live in St. John or Moncton or Fredericton. With all due respect to St. John, Moncton, and Fredericton. And Halifax has always been a place I'm exceedingly fond of, and I like it here. It fits my vibe. It's just the right size, I think. Toronto kind of Toronto's getting too big for itself. And also, like I said, I said this to CBC when I did Metro Morning I was starting to feel like a have-not in Toronto, and I didn't like that feeling because I've never aspired to material goods. I don't own anything. I own a lot of books and records, and a nice bike, which I bought with my last paycheck from the Toronto store. And I kept my camping gear just in case. But I didn't like the way, because I was living in Dundas and I was just on the weekend, I see these kids with chains and wearing clothes that cost more than I make in a month out to drink at restaurants that serve $13 pints and $18 cocktails, and I didn't like the way it was making me feel, and I'm not wired that way. I'm pretty much I might be a punk, but I'm very much a hippie. I don't really desire that much, and right? And that was what was getting me about Toronto. I was just like, I just feel like I feel poor. You know what I mean? I don't like that feeling.
Right.
It's just like that's what the city was doing. I wasn't so much, you know, like I don't mind being poor. Like I said, I grew up below the poverty line with a single mom of two. But I didn't like feeling like I didn't have enough. You know what I mean? And I'd like walk out on my street and walk down Ossington and just feel like, fuck, man, you're such a loser. I like feeling like a, you know, so it's been good to get away from that a little bit. There's some conspicuous. I'm looking across at some pretty fancy houses on the Northwest Arm right now, but that's old loyalist money. These people were born with it. You know what I mean? And there's a bit of conspicuous consumption in Halifax, but a lot of it, I think it's from people who came back from Ontario, Quebec, and drove up the rents, motherfuckers.
I'm glad.
I want them now.
I'm glad that we had this time here because I'll be honest, I was worried about you because I know you've struggled with some mental health issues and you've had times in your life. Fairly recently, you opened up about this on Toronto Mike where you considered, you know, the ending it all, like the final solution there. And I got to tell you right now, I feel hopeful for you, and I feel like everything's going to be okay for Ben Rayner. You know what I mean? And I think the most important thing is that you're close to Paulie, and I think you're going to be okay.
Yeah, man. As long as that's the thing. As long as I'm near my kid, I don't really give a shit about anything else. I'll happily. My friend did love to be on campus. I would happily. I've joked about this for years. I would happily live on a pile of rocks and twigs. Just means I wouldn't be able to come visit. You know what I mean? Like I would actually be fine in that lifestyle. Can't really hook up my turntables and throw down, but as long as I have my kid with me, as long as I'm in. And so we're going to go see the Halifax. We're going to go see the Wanderers tomorrow. We're going to go see a soccer game tomorrow.
Amazing.
My dear friend Dennis has a private box, so we're going to go see some soccer, and I'll have a couple of days with her. And like I said, if I have to bounce next weekend, we'll do another daddy-daughter. I'm really good with Hotwire and Priceline. We're going to get in $41 a night hotels and have a little vacation. As long as I can keep seeing her, like something will click. It's just like I said, we're at an age where we're not like at the utmost employable, and it's the problem with. And I can always make money from gigs, but it's being able to rent a place when you're like, well, I'm working on this project and the money might come in 8 months from now. It's that weird limbo where like no one wants to rent to you, but it's also really hard to like find work when you're like in an unstable housing situation. That's weird. So I led a very privileged life. I made a living as a music critic for 25 years almost, so I'm not complaining.
No, but
I don't actually mind being unemployed. It's kind of fun some days. Well, what are you going to do? I'm going to go for a walk.
Okay, so
it's like I spend my mornings diligently job hunting and following up on emails, and it's like, I don't know, there's nothing else I can do today.
Well, that's just it, right? Keep on keeping on, but keep us posted, man. Like when things develop and things change, let me know.
Yeah, no, I mean you and I are at least in touch, and I appreciate that we stay in touch because you are. I might be a friend of Toronto Mike, but you are an actual friend. And I love
You're an FOM, friend of Mike. That's a very special designation for you there. But I also think it's good that we have this talk because I think it's precarious for a lot of people you wouldn't even think, just people you admire because they write in your favorite newspaper about your favorite subject matter for decades, and you just don't realize how precarious it all is. It's really precarious, Ben, and you're evidence of that. Like you're a layoff, a divorce, a rent increase, mental health crisis away from couch surfing in Atlantic, Canada.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I said, I urge. It's going to come out. I'm going to plug my friend's movie. Well, I thought he didn't. Taylor, the director, I can't remember Taylor's last name. My friend Sandy Hunter produced it. But this movie, What We Dreamed of Then, like I just saw it. It premiered last Friday, but it hits it on the head. So, guy's a swim coach, then a divorce, no money, starts living in his van. But he was like, like he hadn't gone through it himself, but he had a friend who was in the same thing. We actually used the word precarious, but it really, like you see it. There's a girl, and like I said, I'm doing okay. I got some really good friends, and my parents are good to me, and I am lucky that I have a little money coming in. But there's a girl I walk my friend's dogs every day down the same stretch of Quinpool, and there's like a girl, I can't remember her name right now, but she's like a paraplegic. She's living in a tent. And I see her every morning charging her wheelchair at the gas station here, at the car wash, by the roundabout at the bottom of Quinpool, by the bathroom where I'm sitting. And I'm like, how the fuck did you wind up here? Like, I see her wheelchair, her powered wheelchair, outside her tent. And there's a lot of people far worse off than me. And how does that even happen where there's no safety net for someone who literally can't walk and is in a wheelchair for life? And it's a line. Like, I helped her. It was another guy who lives like, I'm on waving terms. I'm a friendly guy. You know that. Like they were pushing her wheelchair. I guess it had run out of charge a couple of weeks ago, pushing it up this huge hill by Flynn Park. And I was like, "Do you need some help, guys?" I was just how the hell is she like dumped to a tent off Quinpool Road in Halifax? It's just so. Don't worry about me. It's that kind of shit that bothers me. It's a lot of people with disabilities, are probably on disability, and can't afford homes. A lot of people with mental illnesses and addictions issues, and there's no services for them. And it's really bad here. Like I said, the stat is, I think that it's a 50% increase in homelessness in like the Halifax Regional Municipality. I think since COVID, I don't, but it's bad, man. There's huge encampments here. It's not unlike Toronto, and I don't like seeing that. I'm lucky. I have I had a good jobs, and I have friends. But when you see someone who's paraplegic being lifted in and out of a tent in the morning to go charge that wheelchair at a car wash, that bothers me.
No, totally. And then you realize that, there's no rainy day fund. So if anything happens to that wheelchair, what does this woman do?
Yeah. And she's the sweetest. It's just that stuff disturbs me way more than like my situation is fine. I'll be fine, but because and when it's a rich country, man, people shouldn't be living like that.
No, I agree 100%. But glad we got to catch up, and now the listenership, the FOTMs are hearing the Ben Rayner update. We're all rooting for you. We all love you. Next time you're in Toronto, let me know. I'll buy you a Great Lakes beer. And hang in there, man. Just keep us posted, and we'll catch up again soon. But thanks for giving me over an hour of your walk. I appreciate this convo.
Because I forgot to charge it.
All right. Yeah. Well, go charge it. Ben Rayner, thanks for this, buddy.
I appreciate the time, and yeah, I'm touched by everybody who gives a shit about what I do, and I might be a bit like, so I'll send love back.
We love Ben Rayner.
Well, I got a bit of a soft spot for you too, Mike.
All right,
I might, like I said, if I can scrape together the cash, I might come up to Queens of the Stone Age, because Josh and I have an ongoing palhood, and I love that band, and it's Mappy Hall. So you might see me there. Probably see Hill there too.
Amazing. Peace and love to you, Ben. We'll talk again soon, maybe at Queens of the Stone Age.
All right, brother. I'm going to jump in Halifax Harbor. You can do that now without dying. It's clean.
Just remember, winter is coming.
Yeah, I know. That's why I got to get my swims in now.
All right, buddy.
Dude, I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, man. Bye.
Bye.
And that brings us to the end of our 1,765th show. Go to torontomike.com for all your Toronto Mike needs. Much love to all who made this possible. That is patrons like you. Go to patreon.com/torontomike and become a member today. Great Lakes Brewery, they're hosting us at the GLB Brew Pub on September 25th from 6 to 9 p.m. That's at Jarvis in Queens Quay. Palma Pasta, they're hosting us on November 29th at noon at Palma's Kitchen. That'll be the 21st TMLX event. Toronto's Waterfront BIA, they'll be joining me next week on Toronto Mic'd. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Blue Sky Agency, right Doug Mills there. He's Doug at BlueSkyAgency.ca. And Ridley Funeral Home. See you all Monday when my special guest is Jim Moore. So Jim Moore made his debut on the most recent Toast with Rob Proust and Bob Willett. Jim Moore is a founding member of Rusty, but he's got an amazing Canadian rock history, and we're going to dig into it. So join me for Jim Moore on Monday. See you then!